Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This will be one of my other videos that I'm doing for the Mesa YouTube channel before I leave on the 21st. So trying to get these knocked out so you can watch them if you want to, since I did have students ask if I would record and post them. So this one, I got great feedback on this specific presentation. For those who attended the live event, there was a YouTube video I played. So I will link that video in the description box. And it's about a 9-minute video that was produced by a car company, but I thought it was really relevant still and interesting. So let's go ahead and screen share and go into the PowerPoint. Okay, so let's go to the current slide. Alrighty. So, and points if you can guess where my background is. So moving beyond failure and developing academic resiliency. So what does this mean? We're going to go over it. Don't worry. Oh, I guess I'll have to do it manually. So what is resiliency? Beyond this classic definition. So resiliency is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, grit. This is not what academic resiliency is, and it's really not what you should consider resiliency. So ignore the quickly part. That is irrelevant. How quickly you overcome something is not the point. When you put resiliency into practice, it will get easier with time. However, it's not always going to be, 2 seconds later, 5 minutes later, a day later, a week later. It really just depends on the situation, what you're going through, and you as a person. So resilience is best understood as a dynamic, multifaceted, lifelong process. So you are going to be learning this for the rest of your life. This is not a one size fits all. This is not a, I will learn how to be resilient and it will stick with me for the rest of my life and I will never have to worry about it again. That is not what we're talking about. The resilience is a function, like I already said, of contextual as well as individual variables. So what happens in your background, what happens to you as a person. And resilience is strengthened when you have a sense of belonging and you have a community, which is why these learning communities like Mesa, Puente, and Emoja, and Community of Pride, and all the other ones that are coming or have come are so important. So you need to have a community to fall back on. You need to have support. You need to have a sense of belonging that you should be in the space that you're occupying. So again, like I said, I'll put the video, maybe we could play it together at the end, or I'll just link it for you since it'll be probably better quality that way. So I'll just link it, I think. But it's from Honda and it's their video from about 2009 called Failure to Success. So basically it's talking about how failure is a necessary component to success, to developing the skills that you need to be successful. Okay, so when it comes to resiliency, there's 4 S's and 3 M's that you need to think about. So the 4 S's are self. So how have I contributed to this current status? How have I contributed to how I'm feeling? Situation, what factors have caused the low grades in these courses? How has my behavior influenced my probationary status or struggle in this course, whatever grade that might be? Thirdly, support. Do I have support systems in my personal life? Do I have support systems in my academic life? How can I develop these support systems further or develop them at all if you don't have them? And fourth, strategies. What techniques do I need to utilize to resolve this crisis? After identifying these challenges, the advisor, so in this case, I would recommend you meet with someone in an adversarial role, if I'm saying that right, who can assist you. So it could be a confidant, a mentor, a friend, a counselor, MESA staff, someone who's a little more advanced in their studies than you in the same major, etc. So that person can help you think about an action plan on how to implement these strategies. Okay, So then when you're dealing with the process over time, you have 3 phases of transition. So the first one is moving in, becoming aware of the event, moving through, experiencing the effect of the transition, and moving out post-transition. So that's why I kind of focused on moving through, because I think that what we're talking about today is mostly about experiencing that transition, going through this experience, and figuring out how to get into the moving out and beyond phase. So there are lots of reasons why you might have done poorly. Mental health, home life stressors, fear of failure and fear of success can both lead to struggles. Lack of preparation or not understanding the study skills or techniques for this course. If you feel overwhelmed academically or from work or home life, lack of motivation. This is really common, I think, with the pandemic and Zoom fatigue. Recent trauma or reemergence of old trauma can come, so that can come up if you see a person that you don't normally see and they're connected to that trauma, or something brings it out, PTSD, that sort of thing. You simply didn't really study and do the work to the best of your abilities. You kind of maybe went on a trip, kind of messed around, watched 8 hours of Netflix, like, and it's all about balance. I don't want you to feel shame. You should watch 8 hours of Netflix, but also get your assignments done on time and to the best of your abilities, so you're not rushing last minute and turning in a half-finished assignment. And there could be lots of other reasons that you can think about. And I would really recommend, if you have an iPad or a little notebook or phone notes app, anything to write on, it'd be helpful to take some notes to think about, well, what is affecting me? And then also, okay, so I failed, and what do I do now? I'm scared I will keep failing. I don't know if I am motivated to keep going. What do I do? So we're going to talk about having a growth mindset. We're going to talk about positive thinking. We're going to talk about changing self-talk. We're going to talk about changing your habits, working with mental health support, academic support, etc., working with loved ones and friends. So boundaries, support, communication, etc. Okay, like very poorly clicking through. My bad. Okay, so here's an example of positive thinking and growth mindset, and how you can have this first scenario and the second one. So scenario A, you get a C on that exam and you're just like, I'm a terrible student. I'm stupid. I can never earn an A. I just don't feel like it's worth it. Why am I even in this class? Why am I even in this major? Why am I studying biology if I can't get an A or B in Bio 130? Like, I just am not a good student. So then maybe you give up, maybe you drop the class, maybe it's too late to drop the class and you're just like, screw it, I'll get a D or an F and then try to retake it or get academic renewal or something else. So this first thought of reaction to that C on that exam is very crucial, because if you get into a mindset where you're hating on yourself, you are saying, I'm a terrible student, I will never learn this, I will fail always and forever, and you're stuck in this mindset that you can't grow, you can't change, you can't learn, you will never, not never, but you will really struggle to get out of that mind frame. It's a very quick way to fall into a cycle, right? A negative cycle. So that is one scenario. The second scenario is you decide that this sucks. It really sucks. I got a C. I worked hard, I did effort, but I can do better. I know I can. I will talk to the teacher. I will go to office hours. I will go and do X, Y, Z. I'll go to tutoring. I'll go to SI. I'll talk to my classmates. Sorry, there are tons of people talking outside my window. So distracting. Hopefully the background noise like filter is actually working. I won't know until I listen to it. But let's keep going. So I can get an A, I will do better. So you can be disappointed. Like, I don't want you to be like, oh, I have to be positive and like, I can never be disappointed and I can't think this sucks, or I can't be like irritated because I watched 8 hours of TV and didn't I'm just talking about myself, 8 hours of TV and YouTube, and didn't actually do the assignment as much as I should have, and I got behind. So that's totally okay. You know, let me stop sharing and pause for a sec. Okay, they left. Sorry about that. I realized, why am I not just pausing? That's the whole point, right? Okay, let's go back to sharing the screen. So hopefully that wasn't too distracting. So basically what I was saying is, you can say like, this sucks, or you can be disappointed, and you can also be a little disappointed in yourself. But there's a big difference between like, I should have done X, Y, and Z. Here's what I'm going to do next time, versus there's not going to be a next time because I suck and I will never even try again. So there's a big difference between those two. So you might not earn an A in this class. You might earn a B. So it's also, again, about that balance, about it being good enough, about recognizing your personal limitations and where you can grow. And it's all about the fact that the growth mindset is saying, I wasn't born this way. I'm not stuck this way. I learned how to walk. I learned how to run. I learned how to study for math, but maybe I'm not quite there yet with chemistry. So there are always ways for you to grow and learn. And that's the whole point of the growth mindset. So again, to reiterate, try a new point of view, try to have a healthy attitude towards failure, embrace it as, I am one step closer to succeeding. I'm now smarter and more knowledgeable than I was yesterday. So let yourself grieve a little bit, let yourself be mad, let yourself be frustrated, let yourself feel, and then start the work. So also in your self-talk, you can improve on your less developed skills while highlighting our strengths and giving ourselves positive self-talk. So say you're really good at math, like math is just so easy for you, like calculus was a breeze, you got an A, no problem, but now it's physics and you're just like really struggling. Well, highlight your math skills, say, okay, I'm good at calculus, I'm good at, differential equations, I'm good at algebra, I'm good at X, Y, and Z. But you know what? I'm not quite getting how to apply the math to these word problems or these different scenarios. Let me work on figuring out how to break down the problems, extract the information I need, and plug and chug with the math. So finding this inner monologue where you're improving the situation, you're improving your work, you're learning, you're growing, you're changing, but you're not doing it in a hateful way. You're doing it in a self-love, caring type of attitude. And that's really important and will make a difference. Okay, so we will pause for a sec, but not for 10 minutes, but just for like a minute or two. You can pause the video at this point, but I'll leave like a minute for you to get things together. So here we're going to decide how we feel in advance. So that sounds kind of wild. And I can't say it always has the biggest impact, but I do think it actually works a little bit in my experience. And there's studies, this is all, from different research and studies and psychological experts and psychologists and all these things. So give it a try. If I were to take my exam, so think about whatever class you're in, physics, chem, bio, math, English, whatever class you're in. If I were to take this exam and get a 96 plus, how would I feel about it? So if I got an A, how would I feel? And what would I think about myself? What would I think about the work? What would I do? Okay, if I were to take the exact same exam and earn a 64, a D, how would I feel about it? What would I think about myself? Okay, so write down your first reactions, then write down how you're going to flip it. Okay, flip it if you get a D. So the second part, flip that into a positive thinking method like we just talked about. So changing our point of view. And then hang on to these answers and take them later to decide how you're going to put these thoughts and feelings into action. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to share my general desktop so then we can look at a little timer, a little song, and a little timer. Okay. 2 minutes. That was not the easiest thing ever to find. I'm wondering if you're able to hear the music. Don't know if you can. So if you can't, sorry. Here's the music YouTube, by the way. Okay, so again, I don't know yet if you can hear that, but it was a 2-minute timer, so at least there was something on the screen for you. Okay, so let's keep going. So hopefully that was a helpful thing. Again, like I was saying, you could pause for longer, but I thought 2 minutes at least would be something to think about. So this is a big paragraph. I have not broken this down into some like super beautiful presentation. It is what it is. So academic resiliency is connected to grit and mindset. Again, positive mindset, grit, academic resiliency, these are a trio that go together strongly. So Duckworth has described grit as an individual's tendency to sustain interest, passion, effort, and persistence towards achieving long-term future goals despite challenges, failure. And grit is a significantly better predictor of academic success than IQ or talent. So I don't think that's that surprising. IQ really has not much to do with being a good student. And sometimes doesn't have much to do with actual intelligence, but it's always, there's gotta be some data and way to decide what is a person. So Dweck's work on mindset has led to the identification of two types of mindset, fixed and growth. A fixed mindset, which is what we don't want to be in practice, describes individuals with fixed beliefs regarding their level of intelligence and ability, which they believe remains stable. A growth mindset instead describes individuals who view their intelligence and ability simply as a basis for development and believe that challenges, including failure, are opportunities to develop their capacity for success through effort and practice. The influence of mindset is emphasized further by Snipes et al., who consider a growth mindset to be a major contributory factor in the development of grit. So many disruptions today. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so they considered a growth mindset to be a major factor in the development of grit. So basically it's saying growth mindset, grit, academic resiliency. So it's kind of a type of thing. Again, sorry, it's just so much information to put out there. So how to develop a growth mindset to develop grit. So one thing is to improve your emotional intelligence through communicating with others through validating others, you can learn to actually self-validate. And that's really important to say, not necessarily need people to agree with you to feel that your feelings and reactions are valid. So you're saying, someone makes you mad, you don't need to go. I mean, you're welcome to go and complain to your friends by all means, but maybe people don't really know what's going on and you don't really feel like going into all the details and the history. You can self-validate and say, hey, you know what? However I'm feeling is valid. It is true. And you know what? I'm gonna go get my favorite boba. I'm gonna go sit under this tree, take a 15-minute break, and then come back to the schoolwork. If you get frustrated with the schoolwork, or maybe think about this situation and how this person made me feel, or how this situation made me feel, and then come up with an action plan. So self-soothing and self-validation strategies are really important, as is emotional intelligence and being good friend to others and a good friend to yourself. So a daily mantra, affirmations, or something like that, visualization techniques, these all can improve in your belief in yourself and your growth mindset. Another thing is avoid blaming circumstances or others unless it's truly out of your control, or someone's doing something to you. So if it's just that you don't quite have the study skills, or remember how to do something, or didn't study the right way, all of these things were within your control to some degree, versus something like your instructor gave you a study guide and nothing from the study guide matches the exam, or they made it like 3 times harder than the homework, or something really intense, or some drama was going on with your family. I don't know. There's just different circumstances and things that really are beyond your control and are going to negatively impact your ability. So take a step back, look over where your responsibility was, where others' responsibilities were, and then learn from the lesson and move on. Be curious. Don't, this person wrote, marvel at how much you don't know. Don't say, I don't know anything. Say, wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that before. And now I do. Hopefully, I'll remember that little tidbit, and grow. Math influences physics, influences chemistry. They're all interconnected. They all have things in common. You're going to see a repetition of different concepts and be like, wow, this is really cool. Don't make it a chore, make it something that's interesting. And of course, sometimes homework and exams are chores. It sucks to feel like you're being graded, but make sure not to take it on as your grades as a value of your self-worth. So then you can feel curious and excited about not knowing things versus upset or tired or negative. And allow yourself to fail. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be hard. It's going to suck sometimes. But every great invention had a prototype. There was never, I imagine that there's never been an invention where the prototype worked perfectly, everything went great, and it never needed to be improved on. Every iPhone's an improvement. The MacBook I'm using right now is an improvement. So every time you learn, you grow, you change. And that's the same for being a human. That we're exactly the same as that. We always can grow and learn more. Okay, leave your comfort zone. So feel free to challenge yourself, to challenge others. If you never challenge yourself, you take trigonometry and you struggle, but you pass and you get it to some degree, and you're like, wow, I really, it's okay to be like, I really didn't enjoy that struggle. And there's 3 different ways to go. There's the way where you say, I'm going to keep challenging myself. I want to take Math 191. I'm going to take pre-calc and keep challenging myself because ultimately I really enjoy physics and I want to be a physicist and I want to have that experience. I want to, work for NASA or something, or Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. And I need to do this to get there. Or there's the way where you say, I'm too silly or dumb or not skilled enough, and I'm just going to give up. And there's the way where maybe it really isn't for you and you realize, wow, I really don't enjoy this. Like I thought, I'm taking physics 120 and I really just don't like physics actually. So maybe I don't want to be a physicist. And you change your major maybe still in STEM, maybe in a different field. And that does happen for students, and that's totally okay. You find that's the whole great thing about being in community college is it's a less expensive way to find what you want to do. So it's okay to add another year to your education and find out what you actually want to do. Okay, continuing on, don't place too much emphasis on results. Results, of course, count, but reward yourself for your efforts. Give yourself praise. This is a long haul, lifelong journey. Give yourself praise for having grit, for doing a growth mindset. Recognize, wow, I used a growth mindset and I used positive self-talk and I self-validated. Good for me. This is making a difference, So reward yourself, and be positive with yourself. So another thing is be careful about having envy or jealousy of others. I know it can be really easy to have a classmate who is like getting 99s on everything and you're getting 79s and you're just like, this is so frustrating. Like, I feel like when we talk, we're at the same level, but then we take exams, we're not. And again, like we talked, there's so many different factors to that. And I didn't realize until I was in STEM classes, I have test anxiety. And it comes out, especially when I'm doing tests in person. And I feel like I start to forget everything in a moment and have panic. So just be careful. You're a different person. You have different skills and knowledge than another person. That person might have taken this class before. I've met lots of people who this is their second or third time taking this class, and that's why they're now getting like 95 plus on everything. Anyway, so you can go over this more if you want. So again, don't make it personal. A bad grade does not mean you're a bad person, does not mean you are a failed person. You have to separate and not blur the lines between you as a person and the action you did or the grade you got or whatever happened to you. Don't dwell on it. So it's, yes, you want to, sorry, I have like fuzzies on my face. Yes, you want to think about it. Yes, you want to discuss it. You want to analyze it. You want to learn from it. You want to create an action plan from it, all these good things. But once you've done all that, once you've gone and moved through it, then you're on the other side, just continuously thinking about it, waking up at 2 a.m. thinking about it, you need to work through it. So you need to write it out, journal about it, talk to a therapist about it, and get beyond it and kind of just distract yourself from it, like a breakup or something. Just once you've worked through everything and you've learned what you can from that situation or person that you're talking to the situation about, and you have an action plan and you're implementing it, you just got to sometimes distract yourself. And lastly, work hard to release the need of approval of others. Often our fear of failure is rooted in what other people think about us. Other people will say, wow, I graduated from high school with Brittany and wow, I'm so much more ahead of her. And like, yeah, she's kind of a failure. That's really sad. And who cares? I don't care what Debbie from ninth grade thinks about me, and you shouldn't care either. Definitely, it's easier said than done, believe me. And a lot of the time, our fear of failure is related to our most closest loved ones, our partners, our friends, our family. But at the least, you might not be able to move completely beyond that with your immediate loved ones, but definitely you can move beyond that from classmates and strangers and people who are not in your daily life. And I've seen people who, front and like hype up what they do, and they like basically lie or very strongly exaggerate. And you don't want to be that person because what you're doing is good enough. And you have to believe that you are good enough. So again, easier said than done, but putting it into action makes a difference. Okay, so another reflection. Reflect on our habits and needs and what do we need to change them? First of all, you don't need to change all your habits and needs. How can we change them? And what action plan can we implement right now that's realistic So SMART goals, I want to put that in here real quick. Okay. So okay, here we go. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So set real numbers with real deadlines. Make sure your goal is trackable. Work towards a goal that is challenging but possible. Be honest with yourself. You know what you are capable of, and give yourself a deadline. So I'm going to study for 30 minutes today. I'm going to set a timer or do a Pomodoro video or something that has a tracker. 30 minutes is attainable for me today with my busy schedule. And it's also, I believe, realistic. And again, we gave ourselves a deadline today, 30 minutes today, Sunday, or whatever day. So of course it can be higher than that, lower than that, but make sure that it's this SMART. Okay. So I wanted to mention getting professional support with all of this. DVC has individual wellness counseling by appointment. They also have drop-in wellness counseling with our 2 wellness counselors. These are individual drop-in and group drop-in, and the current individual one is stress management, and they're Mondays and Thursdays 1 to 2 p.m. So this is spring 2021. And then drop-in individual wellness counseling is Tuesdays from 2 to 3 p.m. This goes throughout the entire semester. I do know that we had some over break, so I'm assuming it'll be over summer, but the times and stuff might be a little bit different. So keep an eye out on the wellness website, and I'll definitely post on Canvas, or Chris or the PA will. Get personal support. So you can talk to, if you feel comfortable talking to mentors, staff, loved ones, family, friends, partners about your mental health and academic struggles. It might not work for everyone. This is not your fault if you don't feel comfortable talking to your loved ones. Every relationship has boundaries and or lack of them. Two people, personal lives, abilities of those people, their understanding, their history, their perspectives. So not everyone can be everything to everyone. So focus on the type of relationship you can have with a certain person, and then create or use or find other relationships to fill those other needs, including talking about mental health and academic struggles. Here's how to talk to loved ones. Some tips from some professionals. First, remember you don't need your parents' loved ones to understand exactly what you're going through. You just need them to know you're struggling so you can get the help you need. That's professional help, or just, maybe sometimes just a hug and a space to listen. Plan out what you're going to say if you're feeling anxiety around the conversation. Pre-plan. So when we talked about pre-planning scenarios, people who pre-plan scenarios are more prepared for the worst case scenario. Psychologically, they've noted that women tend to be the most prepared for worst case scenarios, for whatever social, psychological, possibly biological reason. That's a generalization, but everyone can utilize that strategy of pre-planning and thinking about the best case and the worst case. Once you're ready to have a conversation, choose a time that's good for both you and the parent or loved ones. Ease into the conversation by asking that person or persons about their experiences with mental health. Have you ever had a time where you struggled in XYZ? And you can also not discuss it in person. You can write someone a letter, an email, or text them if that is more helpful for you and easier. And then lastly, I want to talk about boundaries. So how to set boundaries with love. So I want to note that this is like a buzzword, and the point of this is that maybe, for example, maybe you have struggled with an eating disorder and you just don't want to have a conversation about dieting or calorie counting or something like that. because of your struggle. And you have to set these boundaries with loved ones and you have to follow through on them. And that can be really hard, especially in a society that's really wrapped up in diet culture, and calorie counting and good and bad foods and all these things and health and all this. So that's just one example I've seen mentioned by a lot of people. So when you're ready to set those boundaries, what this person wrote was assess your energy, meaning are you in the mental and emotional and health space to talk to someone about this? It could turn into a very exhausting experience. So make sure you have the energy for it. Focus on all positive things, know your role in the relationship, leave responsibility where it belongs on you and on this person. Don't take on, someone starts saying, sometimes parents will be like, oh, I failed you as a parent, blah, blah, blah. And you say, this is not your fault. It's not my fault. It just is. Or maybe it is their fault, or your fault. Like, just know where the responsibility is and know if it's actually anyone's fault. Set time limitations. So say, if you mention this once, I'll remind you. If you mention it twice, I'm just going to walk away from the conversation or hang up the phone or something like that. Lead with compassion. Know that this person is struggling in their own ways. Validate this person and validate yourself. Don't back down if this person starts a fight with you. If you need to take a step away and come back, that's fine. But don't let this person, make you feel like you need to stop setting the boundary. You need it. You need it. Breathe, love yourself, and do self-care things to replenish your energy and make you feel good and better. And then last slide, just different tips for helping you thrive academically while you're in the process of developing academic resiliency / grit, positive growth mindset, getting the support you need academically from tutoring or from counseling or from MESA staff or financial aid, or loved ones or mental health counselors, etc. So remember, everyone learns differently. It's great to get tips from classmates, but find the ones that work for you and, find what works and discard the rest. And just keep trying to look for different tips that help you. Study early and often, meaning start studying week 1 and study every week. Keep track of academic deadlines, use a calendar, use a planner. Often instructors put deadlines in the calendar on Canvas. So subscribe to that calendar and it will go into your phone. So that's really helpful. And I do that for all my classes. Write down and keep track of your goals. Again, SMART goals are the way to go. Ask for help from instructors, tutors, advisors, mentors, counselors, etc. Be kind to yourself, do self-care practices, validate yourself, find support groups, find study groups, etc. Keep in mind and remind yourself and know your why and your motivation for succeeding in school. Why do you want to do this? What benefits are you going to have from it? Why does it matter to you? Seek support from peers you admire, make connections, create friendships, talk on Discord, talk in person when you have in-person classes and services, get connections. It can be with MESA, it could be with DVC, and it could be a wider community. There's lots of big Discords out there. There's college-wide Discords. Keep going, keep trying your best, keep pushing yourself and challenging yourself, and also know your limits. So maybe you can only do 1 or 2 STEM classes per semester. Know your limits of what you can and can't do. Again, find the support to do those things. And it's okay. Slow and steady also wins the race. Seek professional and counseling support, practice a growth mindset, and practice positive thinking and affirmations. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful. I know it had been helpful for those who attended the event. I'm sure it's a little different when it's live, but oh well, I hope you got some benefits from that. And if someone wants to do the tagging of what happens when, that would be awesome to help out your fellow classmates. Maybe I can do that later, time dependent. But anyway, good to see you all. Have a great day. Good luck on putting those practices into action, and you're all awesome and will do great. And never, ever, ever take on a bad grade or a bad experience as being who you are. All right. Bye, everyone.